Welcome to Lento English. Ready to level up your English? Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
One introduction. I had a problem with a video game. I really enjoyed playing it, but I played it too much. It took up a lot of my time. I needed to do other important things like work for my job or study for school. But the game was always there, right near me. It was very easy to pick it up and start playing. It was difficult to stop myself. So I decided to try a new idea. I bought a special container. It is like a box, but it has a lock and a timer built into it. You can put something inside the box. Then you set the timer for a specific amount of time, perhaps 1 hour or many hours. The box locks itself. You cannot open it at all until the timer counts down to 0. I put my video game console inside this box. I set the timer for many hours each day. Now when I feel the strong desire to play the game, I cannot. The box is locked. I showed this special box to my girlfriend. She looked at the box. Then she looked at me with a question in her eyes. She asked me, "Why did you buy this? It cost money. Why don't you just stop playing the game by yourself? Can't you just resist playing?" Her question made me think deeply. Is it the same thing? Is trying very, very hard to not do something you want to do the same as making it impossible or very difficult to do that thing? Is successfully resisting a temptation the same as completely removing the temptation from your life or your environment? For example, imagine you are trying to eat less sugar. Is it the same challenge to stand next to a plate full of delicious cookies and not take one, as it is to simply not have any cookies in your house at all? Many people believe that self-control means having a lot of strength inside you. They say you need strong willpower to fight against things you want but know are not good for you in the long run. Things like eating too much sweet food, or spending too much time on your phone scrolling through social media, or playing too many video games. We often think the best way to achieve our goals is to use a lot of mental energy to stop ourselves from doing these unwanted behaviors. We think the best method is to fight our desires directly, using pure willpower. But maybe this common idea is not always the most effective. Maybe trying very hard to resist temptations is not the best way to reach our goals and live the life we want. Maybe fighting our desires makes things much harder than they need to be. This book is about exploring this idea. We will look closely at whether struggling against our desires is truly the best method for changing our habits and achieving success. We will explore if there are other, perhaps easier, ways to achieve what we want. Ways that do not need so much fighting and effort. Ways that can help us be more successful without feeling tired and worn out from trying too hard all the time. We will ask if removing choices instead of fighting them with willpower can be a simpler and better path forward. 2. A hard test. A famous test happened a long time ago. It was called the marshmallow test. Researchers wanted to see if young children could wait for something they wanted. They put a child in a room with one marshmallow. The researcher told the child, "I will leave the room for a little while. If you do not eat this marshmallow, you will get a second one when I come back." So the child could have one marshmallow now or 2 marshmallows later. The researcher left the room. The child was alone with the sweet marshmallow. It was a very hard test for the child. They really wanted to eat it. You could see how hard they were trying not to eat it. They looked at the marshmallow. They moved closer to it. They touched it. Some children even smelled it or put it close to their mouth but did not eat it. They were trying very hard to wait. The child had to wait for about 15 minutes. This is a long time for a young child when they want something so much. Not many children could wait for the whole time. Only about 1/3 of the children waited and got the second marshmallow. The other children ate the marshmallow before the researcher came back. But even the children who ate it were trying to wait at first. You could see their struggle. The children in the room felt a strong desire to eat the marshmallow. It was right there, easy to take. But they knew if they waited, the reward would be bigger, 2 marshmallows instead of 1. This future reward made them try to control themselves. Their faces showed the difficulty. They looked away, covered their eyes, or talked to themselves. They did anything to make the waiting easier, but the main feeling was one of fighting their own desire. This fight needed a lot of their young mind's power. This test showed something important. Resisting something you want takes effort. Even resisting a small thing like 1 marshmallow needs mental work. The children were using their minds to stop themselves from eating the sweet. This takes energy. It is not easy to say no to something you really want. Every time you resist a temptation, it uses up some of your mental energy. It is like using a muscle. If you use it a lot, it gets tired. 3. Feeling tired. Sometimes you try very hard to do something difficult. Maybe you want to stop eating sweet food or you want to study instead of watching TV. You use a lot of effort to say no to what you want. It feels like a fight inside your head, but does this effort make you tired for other things? Scientists did a test to learn about this. They asked some people to not eat for 3 hours. Then these people went into a room. In the room there were 2 bowls. One bowl had delicious, warm cookies. The other bowl had radishes, which are vegetables. Some people in the test could eat the nice cookies. This was easy for them. Other people had a difficult rule. They had to eat only the radishes. They could not eat the cookies. This was very hard because the cookies smelled so good. After they ate, all the people did a puzzle. The puzzle was very difficult. It was actually impossible to finish. The scientists wanted to see how long people would try to do the puzzle before they stopped. The people who ate the radishes stopped working on the puzzle much faster. They gave up about 10 minutes earlier than the people who ate the cookies. Why did this happen? The scientists thought about it. The people who ate radishes had to fight against wanting the cookies. They used their inner strength, their willpower, to not eat the cookies. This effort made them tired. When they started the difficult puzzle, they had less energy left to keep trying. Their willpower was like a muscle that had already worked hard and was now tired. This idea is important. It suggests that using your willpower or your self-control uses up energy. It is like a limited resource. When you use a lot of this energy to resist one thing, you have less energy for the next difficult thing you need to do. Resisting one temptation makes it harder to resist the next one. Think about your day. You resist many things. Maybe you resist staying in bed when your alarm rings. You resist looking at your phone during work or school. You resist eating unhealthy snacks. Each time you resist, you use some of this inner energy. By the end of the day, you might feel tired. It can be harder to make good choices then. Maybe you find it hard to go to the gym or cook a healthy dinner. This is because your willpower is tired from all the resisting you did earlier. 4. The problem with trying hard. Sometimes we think that people who are good at controlling themselves just try harder. We imagine them fighting against difficult desires every day. But is this really true? Scientists have studied this idea. One study asked people about their temptations many times each day. They wanted to know what people wanted to do and if they tried to stop themselves. They learned that when people resisted a desire, it made it harder for them to resist the next one. It was like using energy. If you used a lot of energy fighting one thing, you had less for the next. But the study found something surprising. The people who said they were good at controlling themselves did not resist more temptations than others. In fact, they reported having fewer temptations during the day. This was a very important finding. It means that people who are good at self-control are not constantly fighting hard. They are not using a lot of energy to say no. Instead, they are living their lives in a way that they do not face many difficult temptations. Think about it. If you want to eat healthy food, is it better to have many cakes and cookies in your kitchen and try not to eat them? Or is it better not to buy them at all? The study suggests the second way is easier. Another study looked at university students. It found that students who used a lot of self-control were not more successful in reaching their goals. The students who were more successful were the ones who planned their lives carefully. They made choices so they did not need to use a lot of self-control. For example, maybe they studied in a quiet place without their phone nearby. Or they chose a route home that did not pass their favorite fast food restaurant. They did not put themselves in hard situations where they had to fight a strong desire. So, the problem with trying hard is that it takes a lot of energy. It is tiring. People who are successful are often not the ones who try the hardest to resist. They are the ones who make their lives easier by avoiding the things that tempt them. They do not need to fight because the fight is not there. 5. A simple distraction. Sometimes we think of temptation like a fight. We must be strong and say no. But temptation does more than just make us fight. It also takes our attention. It is a distraction. Imagine you are working or studying. You need to focus. But maybe your phone is near and you know you have new messages. Or maybe there are sweet foods in the kitchen and you are trying not to eat them. You might be very good at saying no. You do not look at the phone and you do not eat the food. You win the fight. But even if you win, the temptation is still there in your mind. You know about it. Part of your brain is thinking about it, even a little bit. This takes away some of your focus from the work or study you are doing. You might not even know it is happening. Think about something simple like an email. If you are trying to focus on one task but you see an unread email in your inbox, it can be a small temptation to check it. Even if you do not check the email, just knowing it is there can make it harder to concentrate. Some people say it can make your brain work less well, like losing 10 points in how smart you are at that moment. So, temptation is not only hard because you have to resist it. It is also hard because it distracts you. Just being near something you want but should not have can make it harder to focus. It uses your mental energy even when you successfully ignore the temptation. This means you are not working or thinking as clearly as you could be. 6. How habits work. Habits are things we do often, sometimes without thinking much. They follow a simple pattern. There are 4 parts to this pattern. Understanding these parts can help us change our habits, especially bad ones. The first part is the cue. This is a signal that tells your brain to start a habit. It could be a time of day, a place, a feeling, or something you see or hear. For example, maybe you feel a little tired in the morning around 10:30. That feeling is a cue. Or maybe you see something, like a notification appearing on your phone screen. That seeing is a cue. The second part is the craving. After the cue, you feel a desire, a strong wanting. This is the motivation behind the habit. If you felt tired, you might start wanting coffee to feel more awake. If you saw the phone notification, you might have a strong desire to check your phone and see what it is. This wanting is the craving. The third part is the response. This is the action you take. It is the habit itself. It could be a simple action or a complex one. You get up from your desk and walk to the kitchen to make coffee. You pick up your phone immediately and open the message or app. This is your response to the craving. The fourth part is the reward. This is what you get from doing the habit. The reward helps you feel good and helps your brain learn that this habit is worth remembering for the future. The coffee gives you energy and maybe a nice taste. Checking your phone might show you something interesting, or it might just make the notification go away, giving you a small feeling of satisfaction. The reward completes the cycle. This cycle, cue, craving, response, reward, happens again and again. Every time it finishes, the habit becomes stronger in your brain. It becomes more automatic. If you want to stop a bad habit, you can try to break this cycle at any point. But one of the easiest and most effective ways to stop a bad habit is to remove the first part, the cue that triggers it. If you remove the signal that starts the habit, the whole process stops before it even begins. For example, if seeing unhealthy food in your kitchen makes you crave it, you can put the food away in a cupboard where you cannot see it easily. Or perhaps, do not buy that food at all when you go to the shop. If phone notifications make you check your phone too often, you can turn off the notifications for most apps. By making the cue weaker or making it disappear from your environment, you make the habit much harder to start. You do not need to use a lot of mental energy or willpower to fight the habit every time. You just remove the thing that reminds you of it and starts the wanting. This simple strategy can be very powerful for changing what you do and building better habits. 7. A better way. We talked about the marshmallow test before. Remember how some children waited and got 2 marshmallows. How did they do it? Did they just sit there and try very hard not to eat the 1 marshmallow? Not exactly. The children who waited successfully used smart ideas. They did not just use willpower. They found ways to make the waiting easier. Some children covered their eyes so they could not see the sweet treat. Some sang songs to themselves. Others talked to themselves or played little games with their hands and feet. They tried to think about other things. They did not just sit and look at the marshmallow thinking, "I must not eat it." They changed the situation or changed their focus. This shows us a better way than just fighting a temptation with pure effort. Trying hard uses up your energy, like we learned. But changing the situation or distracting yourself saves energy. Think about this in your own life. If you want to eat less sugar, is it better to have cakes and cookies in your house and try not to eat them? Or is it better not to buy them at all? Not buying them is like the child covering their eyes. You remove the strong cue, the sight of the sweet food. Another example, imagine you walk home from work. Your usual way takes you past a bakery with warm, good-smelling bread and cakes. Every day you smell it and you feel like buying something. This is a strong temptation, a cue. It takes effort to walk past and buy nothing. What if you choose a different street to walk home, a street where there is no bakery? Then you do not smell the bread, you do not see the cakes. The temptation is much smaller or maybe not there at all. You do not need to use much willpower. Taking a different route is like the child singing a song to think about something else. The children who were good at waiting did not just try harder, they were smarter. They changed the game. They found ways to avoid the strong pull of the marshmallow. We can do the same with temptations in our lives. It is often easier to remove a temptation than to fight it again and again. 8. Making things easy. Trying hard to resist things takes a lot of energy. We learned that using willpower can make you feel tired. Sometimes, fighting against what you want is not the best way to live a calm life. There is an easier way to make good choices. We can use tools and plan our lives so we don't face hard temptations very often. Think about having many choices. Should I do my work or play a game? Should I exercise or watch TV? Your brain thinks about all these options. It tries to decide which one is best right now. This thinking can make you feel unsure or worried. It uses mental energy and makes it hard to focus on one thing. Consider the video game example. Sometimes I want to play it when I should be working. This creates a hard choice every time I see the game. My brain thinks about playing even if I know I shouldn't. This constant thinking makes it hard to focus on important tasks. So I use a special box. It has a timer I can set. I put the game inside, set the timer for a few hours, and the box locks tight. I cannot open it until the time finishes. Now the choice to play is completely gone for that time. I cannot play the game because it is locked away. My brain stops thinking about playing it. I feel more relaxed and calm because that decision is already made for me. I can focus on my work much better. It is strange, but when the game is locked, I often forget about it completely until the timer finishes. Another useful tool is an app for the computer or phone. This app can block websites that distract me easily. If I want to work, but I often check websites like social media or news during work time, I can use this app. I tell the app which websites to block for a certain time period. Then, for that time, I cannot visit these websites at all. The choice to visit them is gone. I don't need to try hard to stop myself from clicking on them. The app does the work for me. This helps me stay focused and work better without using my energy to resist the desire to check those sites. Making things easy means taking away the hard choices before you have to make them. Instead of fighting against temptations every day, we can remove them from our path. This helps us stay focused on what is important. It makes us feel less stressed and tired from constantly deciding. When the bad choice is not there, the good choice becomes the easy one to make. This is a strong way to reach your goals without using a lot of energy fighting yourself. You just need to make things easy for yourself from the start.